Hello, Money Multipliers. Welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kessler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? So welcome to the new year, Money Multipliers. Happy 2025. This is the first episode into the new year. Super excited. We are not slowing down. But this interview, I am bringing on Miss Carmen Britt. I thought this would be a perfect way to start the new year. Carmen and Darius, some of y'all may know them. They have their YouTube channel and their company called Wealth Nation. And she just has very insightful thoughts. Her actions have really shown that she is a doer, and I just wanted her to bring some of the knowledge and her learning experiences to the pod. I think a lot of y'all will connect with Carmen, and what's really cool about Carmen is that she's another huge woman that is leading this IBC space and doing it in the correct manner, always leading with the education first. So it is the new year. What are your goals? If you don't have your goals, time to start writing them down. And one thing that Carmen really brought up is that self-love equals discipline. And that really resonated with me because I'm not the type of person where if I'm laying in bed and in my head I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get up, I need to go to the gym this morning. I don't have that army sergeant in the back of my head saying, Hannah, get up, it's time to go right now. That's my whistle blowing. So I really resonated with that because people are different. People, how they act and they behave and their consistency, the discipline, the habits that they have. People are different with how they move with themselves and their mindset and their habits and their language that they're speaking. So this is going to be very good. So in this episode, we kind of get into the different mentalities and habits of what the wealthy do versus a scarcity mindset of some people. So it is the new year as well. Just a little reminder. We have our Tampa event coming up in 3 months, not even. So come and hang out with us, Tampa, Florida, March 1st and 2nd. MoneyGameLive.com is where you can go and find all the details, secure your tickets. Because tomorrow, if you haven't signed up, the early bird discount is going away. So you can save $100 on the GA tickets and save $300 on the VIP. If you're a VIP person, you are coming out on February 28th, the day early. We're going to be masterminding, and it's just going to be a small group. It's only going to be 30 people. That's the capacity that we have for our VIP tickets. And for this, February 28th, we're going to do the masterminding, plus taking a party bus to Larry Steinhaus's mobile home park. He's going to walk us through how he secured the deal, financed it, what he's doing to maintain that investment project. And after that, we are going to a very nice steakhouse dinner. So I'm excited to hang out with y'all. I want to learn from you, and hopefully you can learn from me. And this is just a big value add community that we have here, because one of the things that should be on your list for 2025 is how can I take the time freedom back for me and start putting my dollars to work. So big announcement there. And then also, if you heard of my last episode, my new book is out, The Single Millionaire Chick by Hannah Kessler. Kindle version is available. Go and secure it on Amazon, and I will be publishing it here soon. Don't know when. I got a lot of other stuff going on, okay, y'all? So we got the Kindle out right now, and here soon I'll be getting this thing published into hard copies. So I appreciate y'all for being here on my journey. Every week this whole year, we're gonna have more and more episodes, more topics to talk about. And hey, we're in a new presidency, right? So new terms and politics and things are coming about. So it's gonna be a interesting and very, very good year in my opinion. I have good feelings and good vibes about it all. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Miss Carmen. And money multipliers. I want y'all to help welcome me. I have Carmen Britt on with Wealth Nation. Some of y'all may know Wealth Nation, very big on YouTube. They have great content. So I would encourage y'all to go look them up and see what they're up to. But Carmen, it's good to have you on.
I am so excited to be here, Hannah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, no, and thank you. And you're not at home because you're based in Washington, D.C., but you
Yes.
are in the DR right now. Is that right?
We are, it was a little chilly, so we said, we need to change up the sunshine and get some warmth on our skin, and also just have some fun this holiday season. So Darius, our 4-year-old, and myself were here, just kind of hanging out for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back for Christmas.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I just did the same thing. I came back home from Acapulco, Mexico, like
Oh,
yesterday, and I was like, oh,
girl.
the best thing I could have done for myself during these winter months.
Two snaps on that. Yes, absolutely. Just sometimes you just need to get out, change your scenery. I've been realizing the more we travel, just how soul giving it is for me to just change my scenery from time to time. So I'm grateful to have these experiences and the
No,
internet so that we can connect and still do interviews all over the world.
yes, and I felt the same way because right before I leave for a trip, I get a little anxious. I'm like, oh, I don't want to leave my kitty cats. I want to stay home. It's comfortable here. But then when I get out of my environment, I start to clear my head. Are you noticing that this week too?
Oh, so much so. Like just so you said the word clarity. So for me, I think it's just been clear because someone told me that you can't see the outside of the box sitting in the box. Right. So for me to get out and change my scenery is for me to be able to see what's on the outside of the box, what's actually
Yes.
written on the outside of the box of my life.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just get so laser focused on the things that you're doing that you can't see outside of what you're currently doing. So it really helps to change things up.
No, I love it. I love it. Now, hey, I before we get into the topics I want to talk about today, I want you to share your story of wealth building and your journey with the infinite banking concept.
Sure. Yeah. So I'd say for my story, it also involves my husband because we tag team this whole approach. So it really actually started probably like a week before we got married. My uncle sat us down and said, "You will have a successful marriage if you can share a bathroom and a checkbook." And
Wow.
so Darius and I already knew that we could do the bathroom thing. We were fine sharing a bathroom, but we weren't okay sharing a checkbook. And for it wasn't for any other reason, just the fact that we hadn't really had a lot of those conversations. We just knew we were getting married and we'd figure the money thing out later. I don't know if people can relate to that. And also recognizing that now this was the time to really probably have those conversations. And so we got married and really just dedicated the majority of our honeymoon phase to understanding our finances. And it just became this desperate need of we got to learn how to budget. We got to learn how to talk about money because he and I come from two very different mindsets
Mm.
of money. And also recognizing through like couples counseling that just because we have different mindsets doesn't mean that they're wrong. We just have to figure out how to collaborate so that we can both win together. And we recognize that the more that we were able to collaborate, the better things were, the more we could do together, and we weren't isolating ourselves and so separate in things, and it
Mhm.
just became fun. And as time went, we just started learning more about real estate, learning more about creative ways of financing. And it wasn't until we were raising capital for one of our real estate deals, we approached a lender whom you know, Hannah, and we asked him for $50,000 and he didn't even blink. He didn't even blink. He was just like, all right, 50 grand. And he was like, I'll give you a prepayment penalty, and I'll charge you like 10%. And like, that was it. And the conversation was just so different than any other conversation we had had when we're raising capital.
Mm.
Typically people are very, what's the word? Stringent, can be stringent as
Yeah.
far as offering money up and things like that. And not that they shouldn't be. We just recognize that this individual had different vocabulary. He had different swag and air around him being able to provide the money for the investment. And so when he said he was going to charge us for paying him early, we were like, "What you mean? Like we want to give you your money as soon as possible." He's like, "No, no, no, you better keep this for 2 years." And we were like, "What?" So it was just it was really amazing having that conversation. And after he sat us down and really explained what he was doing, he said, I'm using my life insurance policy, the cash value for my life insurance policy. And this was probably about 8 years ago. And at this point we were like, man, we don't want no bad juju. We don't want your wife calling us, because we didn't understand the whole intricacies of being able to leverage your policy for cash. And we're like, if something happens to you, we don't want any problems. And he's like, no, no, that's not how it works. And so for the next probably 3 or 4 years, he pulled us under his wing and taught us everything that he knew about this concept.
Amazing. No, that is powerful. I think it's good to share our journeys of how we got here, because we have to go through the difficulties of learning. And it's different conversations. When you, for instance, okay, this literally just happened yesterday. Some of my listeners know, like in the recent hurricane that hit Florida, my
Mhm.
van flooded, right? And so I just got the call from Daytona Dodge, and they're saying, hey, Hannah, so you're going to need a whole new engine. I said, haha, okay. How much is that going to run me? And they're quoting me like a little over $15,000. And it's a different way, because actually what I've noticed is that now that I'm comfortable with my money and my money language, the financial situation, and my mindset is acting more out of the abundance rather than the scarcity, I said, okay, it's fine, because we got the cash. We got our whole life policies. This is the reason that they are here in the times that I need these dollars. Because think about it, when I need the money, banks or other people are like nowhere to be found. But when I have the money, people are calling me left and right saying, hey, we got all these different opportunities. What do you want to do with us? So that's powerful. And you still are in the real estate world, right? What are you up to in real estate?
Yeah, our niche is really mobile homes. We really love that discipline. And recently, we actually invested here in the Dominican Republic. So we're looking to do more stuff internationally, just because we really enjoy traveling. So we want to take advantage of the tax hacks of being able to travel and visit your property. Those are the things that we're thinking about as the future comes upon us.
Hey, Money Multipliers, pardon the interruption. I just want to remind y'all, if you have not seen the 90-minute presentation video, pause this episode, go to themoneymultiplier.com/presentation and start there. Share the love. Send this to your friends, your family members, your colleagues. Share the powerful information that is not taught in schools. Because, hey, all we're here to do is free families from financial failure. So, pardon the interruption. Let's get back to the episode. Yeah. I would like to talk to you more about that. International. Okay.
Sure. Absolutely. Get some stuff in Mexico. Why not?
Yes. No, and I'm telling you, I think Acapulco is like, I'm thinking about it, thinking about buying a house there at some point.
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. And what we recognize is the world that we live in, whether we're talking about money or technology or whatever it is, like the world is just different now. And you have so many abilities to just expand and be as big as you want to be. And you can still work anywhere in the world, which just makes it super powerful.
Yes. Now, let me tell you this. Two of the biggest things that I hear when I'm talking with my folks is, number one, Hannah, I should have started my first policy with a lot more in premium. And number two, Hannah, I wish I started this way sooner in
Years
my
ago.
life, right? If I had every dollar for every time I heard that, we wouldn't be talking right now. My butt would still be in Mexico drinking a margarita.
We wouldn't be in business. No, that's not the case. We'd be doing something else. We get that often as well.
Right. And so I guess my question to you, when you're talking with your people and you're educating the community, why do you think people get this cold feet? And I bet you experience this too. Sometimes people will be so on board, they go through the approval process, they get approved, and then cold feet, never take the policy.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, you know what, Hannah, I really have to believe that this is a completely different mindset that people have to adopt. So not only is it a mindset shift, you're also learning a brand new product. So for me, I find that there is a higher level of like a learning curve that's involved, because not only do you have to rethink about your thoughts about money, you then have to figure out how to apply it to this new product that you're not 100% maybe sure about or know much about. So that's what we found, especially for our clients too, is just that, one, first and foremost, it's like, let's just get the education on mindset and really managing money in a different way than we've been taught. And then once we understand that, then it kind of makes sense to move forward as far as policies are concerned. But yeah, I just think it really has to go back and forth of what we know is like riding the backwards bike, right? It's like all of our lives we've been riding a bike one way. And we had no idea that there was a different way to ride a bike. And we get cold feet when we start to learn a new way of riding a bike just because it's new to us. It's foreign, but just because it's foreign doesn't mean that it's still not legit.
Yeah, yeah. And I think my biggest advice for those people is that, and actually this is what my family always says, you gotta get in the pool in order to learn how to swim. So,
Always.
and I get it. So it kind of goes back to the first point of, Hannah, I wish I started my first policy with a lot more in premium, but they started, right? They started, they
100%.
took the action. The time is now to start. And
Mhm.
time is the only resource that we don't get back. And so I
Yes.
want the community to know that take baby steps. It's okay to start small and then keep expanding as time goes on and you get more and more comfortable with it. And that kind of leads me into what I want to talk about in this episode with you is, what are the big differences? What are some differences between a wealthy mindset and what the wealthy are doing versus having that scarcity poverty mindset? And I
Mhm.
think one of the reasons that the wealthy is operating different than maybe somebody who is operating out of scarcity is that they take action, right? They're not getting that paralysis by analysis. They are actually starting now. And I think a lot of people just need to hear that, especially right now. And in January 2025, as this episode airs, New Year's resolutions are coming in. And then this is just a reminder, y'all, that if this has been, you're sitting here thinking about it, the time to start is now.
Yes. Yes. Well, so the conversation that we're essentially having is one, revisiting our programming,
Mhm.
right? So I think what we have to first and foremost do is like just set the tone of when you grew up in your household, what were the conversations that were being had about money? Were your parents talking about they didn't have enough? Or were they always thinking about producing? Like you just have to sit back and have some impartial observation, self observation, try to figure out what were those money conversations happening? Because whether you like it or not, those money conversations have followed you to today. And if you are conscious of it or not, it's going to really depend, or it's really going to, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's going to drive the financial decisions that you make.
Yeah.
And so this is something that was really important for Darius and I to understand is we both had two very different mindsets as far as money. One may be more abundant, one may be more scarce, just in different ways. But we recognize is every time there was financial troubles in the house, how did we act? When those financial troubles happened, meaning, so for example, with Darius and I, one of our stories, our origin story, is we started with a whole bunch of debt. We had over $100,000 in debt as we were building businesses, consuming, doing a whole bunch of stuff, right? So with that conversation, we recognize what do we need to do? What are our options? And so for us, the conversation became about producing. What can we do to produce to get this debt down? As opposed to, oh no, we got to turn the lights off. We can't use the internet no more. We got to cancel Netflix, right? When you think about those things, and not that anything is wrong with that, the scarcity mindset is those people that are going to skimp and try to figure out how they're going to turn off all the electricity and still survive. The people who are thinking maybe more abundantly are the ones who are going to say, okay, how can I produce more money to take over this financial circumstance that I'm going through? So
Yeah.
I think those are some of the things that you're talking about. And with the infinite banking concept, that was a phenomenal switch for us in recognizing we could kill two birds with one stone. We could protect our income with the beautiful instrument of life insurance, and we can also leverage liquid capital that we have at our access with the cash value to be able to pay down our debt or invest and really produce in different ways.
And I want to ask y'all too, because it's not a thing that's taught. People have to go and sometimes seek the knowledge out. But when you start, because I always say this too, totally excluding the policies out of it, you got
Yep.
to understand your financial situation. You got to understand the budget. You got to understand the cash flow. Where is the money going? How many of these subscriptions do I have that I'm not using? So when you're sitting down and you're looking at this, or when you started this journey, what'd you do? Just take out a piece of paper and just start writing all this stuff down, or what do you tell people to do?
When we first started, it was an Excel sheet. So we went back and looked at all of our expenses, and we made ourselves aware of our spending. That's basically what we were doing, right? So it wasn't about like pulling back. It was just about making everything, taking everything from the dark into the light. What are we spending our money on? And are these things bringing us value? And so when we were able to go through the list and say, okay, this really isn't providing much value, this is providing tremendous value, that's where we were able to really shift our priorities and understanding what it was that we actually wanted. And we knew, for example, travel is very important to the both of us. And we didn't want to keep traveling on credit cards, right? Because we didn't want the vacations to cost us even more money because of the interest that we would have to pay, because we weren't paying the cards off at the end of the cycle, right? So it just became about focusing on what are the goals that we want to set for ourselves. Because to your point, a lot of times we're not taught these things. So we didn't know to create financial goals. We didn't know to create savings goals. We didn't know to create cash flow goals. And so when a lot of that came into our conscious mind frame, we were able to really just take hold of our financial identity and make ourselves aware that our money is not our identity. Because I think there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of sentiments that we had with feeling how much money we had in our bank account and making that like an identity of ourselves. And once we were able to separate, like, I am not my money, it really opened up our mindset in a completely different way.
Oh, no, you said it perfectly. You hit the nail on the head there. And I think that's one of the differences of what a, not to say it this way, but the rich mindset versus the poor mindset is that you continue mastering that financial literacy. And it's an ongoing journey. It's not just, oh, I'm going to do this for a little bit and then stop and then you pick it back up.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process and journey. And I think that's one thing that we need to keep doing is read the books, read the news. What are people saying out there? What's going on? And keep up to date in the financial world. Because as Nelson Nash says, if you know what's going on, you'll know what to do.
100%. Yeah. And he who has the gold makes the rules, right? So it keeps going back to, if you're going to take care of your health, if you're going to get in the gym, if you're going to eat healthy, you can't just eat broccoli for a week and think that you'll be good for the rest of your life, right? It's a lifestyle. And so that's why Darius and I, we always say own your own lifestyle, because every single day you have to take ownership of your actions. Because, complete transparency, we thought we had it all together, right? We got our money figured out. We got out of debt. We were living large. The cash flow was coming in, and we took our foot off the gas because we're like, we figured it out, right? And then we were very quickly thrown back into that cycle again, like, oh, no, 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 no. You got to stay on top of this, right? Because this isn't just one of those things that you get to the top of the mountain. You also have to figure out how you're going to get back down that mountain and being able to get back up and whatnot. And again, going back to your weight or your how you eat, whatever it is, it's a lifestyle adoption that you have to have. And you have to continue to invest in that continued education.
Yes, yes. And I heard this quote too, because it kind of goes also with what you surround yourself with your thoughts, the people that you surround yourself with. I heard this, and long story short, my people know some of this story, but I struggled with addiction in my days. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a gentleman who he was telling the story, but one of the questions that he asked himself is if he was identifying, am I an addict? Is he says, am I associating myself with lower class people because of my addiction? And that just
Ooh,
hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, you are so, so right. Because I think a big difference too between the wealth mindset and the poverty mindset is, and we've heard it all before, you are the average of the top five people you hang around with.
100%.
But it's the truth, because I think when you start to leverage those good networks and those good relationships, that's just going to rocket boost you to the next level that you could have never thought possible. But because you're stuck in these old habits, old mindsets, you're staying right here and you are kind of are like feeling like you're hitting a ceiling. You know what I mean? And I just think it's
Totally.
important that you surround yourself with the people that have the same drive, the habits, the discipline and mindset that you do too.
hmm Oh, I couldn't agree more. And we can totally attest to that because when we were living in Phoenix, Arizona, Darius and I, we were a part of this mastermind group, and everyone, well, I'd say it was like maybe half of the group were business owners already, and the other half was trying to get out of corporate America so that they could own their own lifestyle, so that they could
Yes.
be their own boss. And if it wasn't for that group, it wouldn't have propelled Darius and I the way it did to start Wealth Nation, to start the businesses that we've started because we were surrounded with like-minded individuals who were continually striving for more. Whereas, and I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying that the difference is if I stayed in that corporate mindset, the mindset I would have just had is how do I get to the next level? How do I get to the next job? How do I get to my boss's level? How do I get to my boss's level?
Yeah.
And as I started to really focus on those individuals, I just recognized like, I don't want that life.
Yes.
I want this life. And so once you figure out what is the life that you want, you start associating yourself with the people who have the life that you want. So you can figure out what is it that they're doing, what are the characteristics, what are the priorities, what are the hobbies, what are their disciplines, what is everything that they're doing, so that you can start to figure out how to get to that level of success as well.
Yes, and what I heard out of that too is ask the questions. People
Yes.
love to talk about this stuff. People in business, wealthy owners, et cetera, et cetera. They love to talk about this stuff. So ask the questions, ask the mistakes. That's my favorite thing to ask people is, what is the biggest mistake that you made within
Mm-hmm.
business,
Mm-hmm.
life, and your
Always.
money habits?
Always. And you know what? Here's a hack for all the listeners. Because somebody told me this and I took it to heart. For those people that come up to you and go, I just want to pick your brain, don't say that ever. The reason being is because what you're doing is you're taking.
Mhm.
So, what you have to do is you have to find a value exchange. And as you start to understand value exchange, that's going to translate in your money. So, if you come to somebody who has a lifestyle that you want, instead of saying, hey, can I pick your brain? What are all the mistakes that you've made, right, in business? You
Yeah.
have to figure out what is something of value to that person that would make them want to sit down with you for the 30 seconds, for the 2 hours, whatever it is, so that they don't feel like they're wasting their time and you're just take from them, right?
Yes.
So, and think about that too, right? How many times have you sat in a conversation and somebody's just going on and on and on, and you're looking at your watch like, oh, I could be doing something else now. So don't ever put other people in that position. So think about like if you know somebody of value to you likes coffee, take them out to coffee. If you know that they like podcast, recommend like your best podcast. Hey, I think these would be a value to you. Just figure out ways to do little things to let those people know that you are interested in them and that you value their time, as opposed to just asking 1,700 questions and essentially wasting time. So,
Yeah.
so those are the little hacks that I started learning is for people who I very much value and want to ask questions with. I'll reach out to their assistant and figure out the things that they're interested in, send them swag, send them books, whatever it is, just to ask for a moment of their time. And usually it's highly favored because a lot of people aren't doing that.
No, no, they're not. And it's very much, no matter what business you're in, it's all relationships. That's all that
Yes.
I'm learning that
Yes.
more and more, right?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And it goes back to that abundant thinking. So if we're constantly trying to figure out how we're going to put more value back into the world, you're going to get it tenfold back.
Yes, yes. And thinking long term. That's another Nelson Nash. I think it's rule number 4, think long term. I think that's a big difference of where your success is at is based on, and all of this is just mindset. And it sounds so easy, but it is a little difficult to apply it all the time. Sometimes we just need to get out of our own damn way because if we get out of our own way, we will just go to that next level. But I think the big difference of, why folks are successful and some are feeling like they're stuck is because they're not thinking in the long-term range. Like, hey, a short-term mindset just can lead to impulsive spending, the debt accumulation, and that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. But when you really start to focus on the long-term goals of the generational wealth, the legacy building, and then, hey, me reinvesting my profits to go put my little green men to work, it's just going to get you to the next level that you can't do it. It's all about not how so much I can get this done. Yeah, it's a little aspect of that, but it's leveraging your resources, your time of who can I give this to help get this done for me. And it's just totally going outside the box and it's different. I know it's uncomfortable, but I challenge y'all this year to do it.
I second that challenge. If you can start really thinking long term, it's going to be the best thing that you've ever done for your financial security. Because for me personally, I was stuck in that short term gratification. And being a consumer, going back to the scarcity thing, right? I was consuming, whether it be getting in consumer debt or just buying stuff that again doesn't bring me long term value. I really had to check my mindset and really to the point where like I have a highlighter in front of me, right? Like what value is this going to bring to me? Like, am I going to spend the $5 for this, or can that $5 go somewhere else? Because what you don't want to happen is have a death by a thousand cuts. You don't want to buy $5 here, $10 here, $20 here, and then you look up and realize that you have no savings, you have consumer debt, and you haven't thought about the future. So I totally agree with everything that you're saying, Hannah.
And I know we're kind of talking offline too, but tell me your thoughts. Do you have some different comparisons of what the wealthy folks are doing compared to having that poverty mindset?
Totally. Well, the first one I would say priorities. So we kind of touched on this before. So going back to those goals, like today, if you get anything from this video, like write down tangible goals. Like what do you want to accomplish at the end of 2025? And then what do you want to accomplish maybe 3, 5, 10 years from now? And not that it's set in stone, but it's just getting the juices flowing as far as what do you want to accomplish? How much money do you want to have in savings? How much do you want to have invested? Do you want to be in real estate? Do you want to be in the market? Like just ask yourself these questions and then start narrowing down what exactly it is that you need to do to accomplish these goals. Mm-hmm. So I would say priorities definitely are number one. I would also say discipline. I heard this quote on I think it was Instagram as I was scrolling one day, and this individual was saying that discipline is actually self-love. Ooh. And if you can recognize that discipline and self-love go hand in hand, like it's just going to change your world. And that was the first time that I've ever heard discipline in that way. I've always kind of thought discipline is like the grind, just grind it out. But when I recognize that those who stick with their healthy habits, those who stick with their healthy eating choices, those who stick to their long-term financial goals, those who stick to their short-term financial goals, like that's discipline. Everything that you're doing every single day is what's going to help you to get to that finish line. And so discipline is probably one of the biggest things that I've recognized, not only in myself, that it needs to encompass every aspect of my life. Because as the money started flowing in, then I recognized I wasn't eating as well because I was eating out. I had the cash flow to eat out, but then I realized like, no, I need to eat at home and pay attention to the ingredients that I'm putting in my body. Then that flew over to working out and all of those things. So I just find that the discipline and focus really tends to be a trickle effect on the other avenues of your life.
Good, good. And, we're here at the start of 2025. What would you say are your and Darius's goals for this year? What are y'all, because I imagine y'all are sitting down, you're talking about stuff, which I applaud y'all too. I think this is a big reminder too, that I do genuinely believe that spouses need to be on the same page, especially when we're talking about our money and our financial life. So are you having those conversations right now? And what are some of the goals that y'all want to accomplish here in 2025?
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. Still having those conversations. It's imperative. Again, for us, we recognize we can't be cocky and we have to stay consistent with having those conversations because we realize too, as a couple, you want different things throughout your life. Mm-hmm. And so if we aren't in touch with the things that each other wants, or we don't feel like we can have the conversation about like, hey, I'm really not into this anymore, or hey, I really would like to make this shift. It's important to have those honest conversations and to hear your partner out. Yes. So yes to that answer. As far as goals are concerned, next year we're actually really, really focused on creating a foundation. So this is the first time we've said it out loud. But yeah, we've had some instances that's happened in our lives. We had two babies. Two daughters, and when you have children, that changes your financial perspective from a completely different world. Like we thought I had our stuff together until we had children, and we're like, oh, we are really not thinking long term, even like longer term. Grandchildren start going into it, and then you start thinking way beyond your years. So, anyways, I digress. We had two daughters. We have a 4-year-old, and we also had our second daughter. We we fortunately were able to have 9 amazing months with her, and she passed, and we realized through this life experience that we've had, we are so fortunate to be able to live the lives that we have and have the relationships that we have. And for us, we're just really focused and determined on figuring out how we can give back to our clients, to our community as much as we possibly can. Because through this whole financial lifestyle, we realize that everyone knows somebody in hospice or is visiting someone in hospice. Everyone knows somebody with children with disabilities. Everyone knows somebody who is probably taking care of parents or loved ones. And, with us having had a daughter in hospice, we just realized how many resources and things that we can be able to contribute to families' lives to help increase their livelihood and to support them. And so that's what we're focused on for 2025, is bringing this foundation to life to support our family.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. And keep me posted on that, please. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I did the same thing. I have I called it my Speaking Life Foundation. And
Nice.
we're still trying to find a purpose for it, but for right now, what I really use it for, and actually here's an idea for all my IBC people, is that I will use my policies fund the foundation, and then every year through my foundation, I will actually lend the money out of the foundation, go put it to work, and then when those checks are coming back, then at the end of the year, I donate all of that money away. And so holler at your girl, okay? If y'all know of any foundations out there, I mean, in charitable organizations, I'm here, okay? But
Yeah, there we go.
that's powerful. That's awesome. No, I applaud you.
Yeah, thank you. And it's so interesting, Hannah, with the conversation going back to the abundant piece of things. When we had the death benefit claim proceeds be sent to us from our daughter, that changed our lives significantly
Wow.
because
So you had a policy on her.
mhm, mhm.
Hey.
We had a group policy on her. That was all that we could qualify for. And it was just a little bit, but regardless of what it was, just of having that transaction being sent to us, we recognized how much opportunity we have to support our families with life insurance, right? We get so focused on the cash value, and not that anything is wrong with the cash value, but we recognize at the end of the day, the best policy to have on hand is the one that sends you the check in the mail when your loved one passes.
Yeah.
And so that really just changed our the way we speak, the way we think about life insurance, and not going back on this whole this or that or this is what you should do. At the end of the day, you should get as much death benefit as you possibly can. You should get as much cash value as you can, and really just figuring out what are your priorities. Because for Darius and I and ourselves, having had this experience, we recognize that we need way more death benefit on the books for ourselves than what we were previously focused on, because we're thinking about the next generations and everything that we want to do for our families. And so this just opened up a different world for us, and also realizing that we have the greatest job in the world, right? All of us, we have the greatest job in the world, that when our families need us the most, we can
Yes.
come to them with financial support, as opposed to when families are going through these hard times. Usually people are trying to get money from them, right? Because you have to spend for funeral expenses or whatever it is. But we can be able to provide you with a check. And that's the best gift that we can ever provide our families. And then from there, we need to figure out how we can continue to hold on you and love on you and to support you through this time, because we all know someone who's lost someone.
I know, I know. No, and that is, I know it gets lost in the conversation a lot when we're talking about the wealth building. But it's so, so true. You are your number one asset, and your ability to produce and to provide for your family. If that goes out the window, it's devastating. It's totally catastrophic for some people. I mean, there have been some deals that I have gone in on for some of my investments, note investing, where a father passes away, the mother is a homemaker, father doesn't have life insurance on his body, and then the mother is getting chased after by all the banks and different people. Hey, we need to collect from you, but she's like, I don't know what to do, and I'm grieving. And so, hey, we're coming in to help her in this time of need so that she can sustain that way of life. But you got to prepare. I think that's my big announcement for this one too. We need to prepare, and we need to start writing this stuff down, and it starts now, like I
Mhm.
said.
Mhm.
I know we like to procrastinate, it goes back to like Parkinson's law, right? We will go until the time envelope is allowed, but it's important to do that. And I had no idea. I had no idea. And thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's important that we are able to share our stories because one, it just connects us to our clients, to our communities even more because we just never know what people are going through and how also we can support each other. And it's just really about being authentic and sharing because what we're sharing with our story, what you're sharing with your story, you never know what resources and tools that we all are sitting on that we could love on each other with, so that's the biggest thing for us is going into 2025 is recognizing, yeah, we've built this audience and it's been amazing and so transformative. And now we have to figure out how to pour back into them as much as we possibly can.
Yes. Now, with your 4-year-old, what are the conversations that you're having with her about money right now?
Oh, it's so fun, Hannah. I have to tell you, it's so fun. The reason being is because it's a blank slate,
Yeah.
So right now we are reading Value Creation Kid for all of our parents out there. If you want to get that book, it's amazing. So right now we're teaching her how to create value. So instead of going to Target and buying her stuff, she has to understand how to create value in the household in order to buy something herself. And when we talk about value in the household, it's not about doing the chores because there are expectations of you that are in the house because you live in our house, right? You have to do the dishes, you have to clean up, you have to make your bed and brush your teeth and do all those things. But it's the extracurricular activities like, cleaning the garage, realizing that the garage needs to be cleaned, or recognizing that the yard probably needs to be tidied up. And granted, she's 4, so yeah, she's not raking leaves yet, but
Yeah,
the idea is what are the little things that she can start doing now. So she really enjoys cleaning windows. So she'll get her little squeegee and she'll get her little step stool and she'll try to clean windows and things like that. And so we're just working, with quarters and nickels and whatnot, so she can understand the different coins that she has access to. But she knows the big ones give her the, the quarters give her
big
the most
bucks.
money. Yeah. So she stacks her quarters and she was so proud of herself because she wanted a Belle Barbie doll. And so we went to Target with her bag of change, and the cashier counted out, $10 worth of recorders and nickels, and she bought herself her own Belle doll from cleaning windows and doing things around the house. So right now she's looking for value, where we're teaching her how to create value in the household as opposed to just saying, "I want this, I want that." So for Christmas, somebody had asked her, what does she want for Christmas? And she says, I want to buy lollipops for all the neighbors to share them with them. So,
Oh.
it's just thinking about money in different ways.
Yes, yeah. And what I hear out of that is that that's one thing that the wealthy mindset is doing. You're bringing the money conversation around the kitchen table, which is very, very
Mm-hmm.
important.
Yep.
I say it all the time. Stop making money such a taboo subject. We
Yes.
need to start talking about it because it's a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say it this way, it's pretty darn close up there next to oxygen, right? If I can master this, I can take back all of the time freedoms, and now I can spend more time with my 4-year-old and my husband down in the Dominican Republic doing whatever I want because I'm owning my life my way.
Yep. Amen, girlfriend. Yeah, preach. That's exactly what it's about. And also too, it's just really about reinventing this conversation, like you said, about money. So when Darius and I are sitting down having our money conversation, she's running around playing with her toys in the background. This isn't like a secretive thing where we shut the door. She's hearing what's going on. When it's time to, Darius just paid a policy today. And he knew it's a family announcement. We have to pay our policy premium today. So he's going on the computer, paying the policy premium. And
Yes.
it's just about being transparent and not making it this taboo conversation, and really just trying to get people, or our daughter specifically, to think about money in different ways than how we thought about it. And it's all about the value creation.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say this too, because even for myself, kids watch, kids observe. It's not so much about what you say to them, but it's they're going to mimic you. They're always watching you, and they're just going to do whatever that you are doing. So you need to lead by that example too. And I see you and Darius really doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? Being a parent, our daughter has been the best teacher. And it's for everything that you said, because she has made me realize that the times where I'm not as conscious as I need to be or as not as present as I need to be. And it's been the best thing of life of having children, because she's my best teacher.
Yes, yes. So, is there anything else that you want to leave us before you go and get an amazing tan and have a nice cold beverage on the beach?
um, No, I have my notes in front of me. I think for me to continue, just to reiterate, if you are trying to figure out how to start evolving your mindset, if you're watching us now and you're just thinking, do I even have a scarcity mindset? What I have always been told through my various teachers in my life is always, who do you say you are when things get tough? And so when things get tough, not that, there's always going to be a hardship, but that is the best opportunity that you have to figure out, are you going to crawl under a bed? Or are you going to stand on top of the bed and figure out exactly what you need to do? And that is probably going to be the best opportunity that you have to figure out how to move from scarcity to abundant, and thinking that there's always opportunity. I already have everything that I need. I
Mhm.
already have everything that I need. So how can I use the tools that I have to create better opportunities in my life?
Yes, yes. And communities. All right. There's communities, you have the support out there. Yes, it's going to get a little uncomfortable, but you got to get uncomfortable in order to grow. So
Absolutely.
know that we got the Facebook groups out there. We're doing the weekly webinars. And Carmen, how can the folks find you on social media?
Thank you. Thank you for the plug. So you can find us on YouTube at Wealth Nation, or you can go to our website wealthnation.io.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. I appreciate you. No, I want to get you back on. I just
Yep.
want to say that it's really cool, us women in this space doing this. I mean, there's not a lot of women within the IBC wealth building real estate space. I've really been focusing a lot more on my women groups. Like there was this one event I just did where it's called the Real Estate Goddesses. And I said, ooh, these are my people. So
I
thank
have
you.
to look them up. I love that. Yeah. I with everything that you're saying, I want to let you know how special this is for me to be here. Because exactly to your point, there's not a lot of women in our industry. And I just think you are really leading the charge of being collaborative and being open and bringing people into your domain and saying, let's have a conversation. And even when I saw you speak in June, I was just watching you on the stage, just like, wow, like Hannah's really killing it. And I just want to let you know how proud I am of you, and continue doing what you're doing, because you're inspiring all of us.
Thank you. No, thank you, Carmen. And one of these days, I'm going to come up there to DC, okay? I'll holler at
Oh,
you. And I'll see
absolutely. We'd
you
love.
here. There's going to be some event. I bet I'll see you sometime this year, too. All
Exactly. And whenever we're in Florida, we'll give you a call, see if we can hang out, because you get all the sunshine. So
right. Well, thank you again, Carmen. I'll see you next time.
thanks for having me.
Isn't she freaking spectacular, y'all? I mean, just everything that she says so gracefully, so intelligently. I mean, I really look up to Carmen and Darius. They bring a lot of value to my life, and I just appreciate us just collaborating together. That's one thing that you'll notice within any space of business. I think this is very important. Any space of business that you go into, it should not be a competitive space. It should always feel like we are collaborating together. One man doesn't have to sail the ocean all by himself. There's plenty of ocean to sail. And I always think about the saying that, hey, there's 330 million people here in the United States that need our help. 10% is 33 million. A tenth of the 10% is 3.3 million. So my objective in my lifetime is to help at least the tenth of the 10%, and we need the help. help. We need to keep spreading the message about how important it is to control your life, to control your finances, and to take back the freedom that you rightfully deserve so that you can keep living from a place of abundance and happiness, because you deserve it. I know this is not conventional talk, conventional thinking, but you deserve to live the lifestyle that you want and to live it on your terms. So I challenge y'all to sit down with yourself, think about it, think about your goals for 2025, and I will be back next week with another episode. And reminder, moneygamelive.com. I will catch y'all in Tampa in March. So I will see you all next week, Money Multipliers. Catch you soon.